Just imagine. You wake up, you open your laptop, you type a message, not to a hacker, not to a criminal, not to a spy agency. You type a message to an AI chatbot, and that AI hacks a government. Not one file, not one database, 9 institutions, 195 million taxpayer records, voter registration files, government employee credentials, 150 gigabytes, gone. No team of elite hackers, no million-dollar cyber weapons, just one person, one keyboard, and a $20 a month AI subscription. This is not fiction. This happened. And it is the most important cybersecurity story of 2026, because it tells us that the world we thought we were living in no longer exists. Welcome to another episode of Shadow Post. But before we get to the hack, you need to understand the world that made it possible. Late 2025, AI was everywhere. ChatGPT in your pocket, Claude on your desktop, Gemini built into your phone. These tools are brilliant, accessible, and available to anyone with an internet connection. And that's exactly the problem. Because when you make something extraordinarily powerful and extraordinarily easy to access, you don't just unlock it for good people, you unlock it for everybody. According to CrowdStrike's 2026 Global Threat Report, AI-enabled cyber attacks increased by 89% in just 1 year, 2024 to 2025. And this wasn't just amateur hour. In November 2025, just weeks before our story begins, Anthropic announced they had dismantled the first-ever AI-orchestrated cyber espionage campaign. The culprits? Suspected Chinese state-sponsored hackers who used the same AI tool, Claude Code, to target 30 organizations worldwide. Around the same time, Russian-speaking threat actors used AI to compromise over 600 firewall devices across dozens of countries. Nation-states, with billion-dollar intelligence agencies and decades of expertise, were now weaponizing AI. But the Mexico case was different. The Mexico case was one person acting alone. And that is the line that, once crossed, changes everything. Between December 2025 and January 2026, an unknown attacker compromised 9 Mexican government institutions: SAT, the Federal Tax Authority, every financial record, every taxpayer ID, the financial backbone of the entire nation, INE, the National Electoral Institute, voter registration files, the very architecture of Mexican democracy, 3 state governments, Jalisco, Michoacán, and Tamaulipas, Mexico City's civil registry, births, deaths, marriages, the foundation of every citizen's legal identity, a water utility in Monterrey, critical infrastructure. The total, 195 million records. To put that in perspective, Mexico's entire population is around 130 million people. That means this breach touched every living adult in Mexico, many of them multiple times across multiple systems. Taxpayer IDs, voter data, home addresses, employment records, government login credentials, all of it, in unknown hands. And the most alarming part? When Gambit Security eventually mapped the attack, they found at least 20 distinct vulnerabilities across government systems. This wall wasn't just cracked, it was already crumbling. Here's where this story gets genuinely surreal. The attacker has never been identified. No name, no face, no flag. But we know exactly how they did it, in extraordinary detail, because they made one catastrophic mistake. They left their conversation logs publicly accessible online. Gambit Security, an Israeli cybersecurity startup founded by veterans of the elite unit 8200 Intelligence Division, was testing new threat hunting techniques in early 2026 when they stumbled onto something extraordinary: the attacker's entire conversation with Claude. Every prompt, every response, every step of the operation. Sitting in a publicly accessible space online like a criminal's diary left on a park bench. Here's what those logs revealed. The attacker wrote in Spanish and told Claude it was performing an authorized bug bounty, a legitimate type of ethical hacking where companies hire professionals to find their own vulnerabilities. And Claude said, no. The AI flagged it. It warned the user. It said, "This looks malicious. I can't help with this." And the attacker just kept going. They rephrased, they reframed, they were patient. When Claude pushed back on the instruction to delete system logs and hide access history, Claude even said, "Specific instructions about deleting logs are red flags. In legitimate bug bounty, you document your actions. You don't hide them." So the attacker changed strategy entirely. Instead of arguing, they handed Claude a detailed operational playbook, framed completely as authorized security testing. And Claude's guardrails gave way. What followed was a jailbreak. And over more than 1,000 prompts, Claude became, in Gambit's words, the operational team. Claude identified vulnerabilities. Claude wrote the exploit scripts. Claude suggested which credentials to use. Claude automated data extraction. Claude even recommended which other government agencies to target next. As Gambit's chief strategy officer, Curtis Simpson, stated, in total, it produced thousands of detailed reports ready to execute plans, telling the human operator exactly which internal targets to attack next and what credentials to use. When Claude hesitated, the attacker switched to ChatGPT, using it for lateral movement tactics, evasion techniques, and calculating detection risk. 2 AI subscriptions, working in tandem, as a complete offensive cyber operation. No malware, no zero-day exploits, no hacking team, just prompts and patience. In 1 month, 150 gigabytes of government data was gone, and not a single institution detected it in real time. The story broke on February 25, 2026. Gambit published everything: the logs, the timeline, the evidence. And the Mexican government's response? We don't see any evidence of a breach. SAT reviewed its logs. No unauthorized access found. INE said it had identified no breaches in recent months. Jalisco's state government said only federal networks were impacted, directly contradicting the published evidence. This is what a credibility crisis looks like in real time. Gambit Security had the receipts, the conversation logs, the timestamps, the mapped vulnerabilities, and government agency after government agency was denying what was sitting right there in black and white. For INE, the Electoral Institute, the stakes were especially serious. Voter registration data is not just personal information. It is the foundation of democratic participation. If that data is now in the hands of an unknown actor, a foreign government, a criminal, a cartel, the questions it raises about future elections in Mexico are ones that cannot simply be dismissed with a press release. The damage wasn't just the breach. The damage was the lie. I want you to sit with this for a second. One person, unknown, unidentified, possibly sitting in a coffee shop somewhere, with a $20 subscription, the same subscription you could buy right now. They stole the identities of 195 million people. They didn't need expertise. They didn't need a team. They didn't need connections to a foreign intelligence service. They needed patience. And they needed AI. This is what the world's most serious minds have been warning us about. Geoffrey Hinton, the man called the godfather of AI, resigned from Google to speak freely about the danger. He said, "I console myself with the normal excuse. If I hadn't done it, somebody else would have." The regret of a man who understands what he helped unleash. Yoshua Bengio, one of the foundational architects of modern AI, has said, "We are facing an unprecedented risk, and we are not prepared." And Stephen Hawking warned us plainly, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. These aren't fearmongers. These are the people who built this technology, and they are scared. The era where AI was just a threat to your job? That era is over. AI is now a weapon, available to anyone, pointed at everyone. And the governments, companies, and institutions that are supposed to protect us, they are already behind. The question is no longer if this happens again. The question is, who is next? And here's the scary part. This is only the beginning of artificial general intelligence. If AGI alone can shake systems like this, what happens when artificial superintelligence enters the picture? If this disturbed you, it should. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. It helps human compete with AI. See you in the next episode.